comes down, goes like this. So I come running down with my shovel and my beanie, you know. I go, what do you
Uh-huh.
want? He gave me another $5. He said, I like your style, kid.
Mm-hmm.
Until that day, no one ever gave me the acknowledgement that I was a smart kid.
Mm.
I got tears in my eyes when that guy, over
Yeah.
50 years ago, he probably never had anybody in his life. No, it ain't gonna go that way. He was a gangster,
Right.
an important gangster. So he's used to going, hey, do this, people do that. And I'm that little shit kid going, nah,
Right.
give me the money
Yeah.
first.
Mm-hmm.
So he was very influential in my life. And that's one of the things I really try to do is give people those moments.
Yeah.
And that is so critical that you can change a person's life by a 15-second conversation.
Absolutely. What was your very first business?
The first business I had, I was in first grade.
Oh, tell us about that.
I've always had a business. I always had a game. I'm a Jewish kid from Queens. I always had a hustle. So my
Mhm.
first business was my parents took us to Florida. Now I grew up going to Coney Island, Rockaway Beach, which the only thing you had was broken bottles and candy wrappers at the beach. I mean, it was pretty tough beach, you know, and 5 million blankets, and maybe you could see the sand between each one. So we go to Florida, and there's all these seashells and all this. And like all little boys, we have a little cigar box, and we put all little toys in and stuff. So I collected these. My mom goes, well, what are you going to do with them? I'm going to sell them at school. Oh, okay, cool. Well, we come back, and I'm missing. And let me tell you, I had a reputation as a boy that I was a boy. You had to keep a leash on me because I'll disappear in 2 seconds and you don't know where I'm at. So my mom comes looking for me, and she sees I smuggled out a blanket, a little towel, and I had my seashells spread out there. Now this is what my mom couldn't believe. I had, let's say, these were a nickel and these were a dime. I had less of the dime ones exposed. I only had two dime ones and let's say 10 nickel ones. But the truth is, I had more dime ones in my pocket, but I didn't let you know it.
Mhm.
Like I only got two left. You better buy these because these are the most valuable. So already at first grade, I had the understanding of developing the 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 need of want and how to do a branding and marketing of
Mhm.
making something seem more valuable than it really was. Most people would have more out, but I created the lack of well, I can't think of the right word at this moment, but the lack of um, exclusivity or people understand what I'm getting at is that most first graders don't understand the concept of developing, having, creating the want of actually having more, but
Mhm.
only exposing less.
Right.
So my mind was always like that, and that's what my gift is. I
Right.
can, I have a natural ability to see the future and create and see systems and organizations and see the finish line before the kickoff.
And that translates in what you do today. Awesome.
Right.
And then so after first grade, I mean, just name off the different types of where you
Oh,
what were
I
you doing in high school? I know you were up to something in high school.
Oh, this is another game. So in New York City, my friends used to shovel walks for snow, okay, during the winter, and they would get $2 or $3. I'm going, that's not really most effective for my time. And there was an entrance ramp going onto the freeway that everybody was getting stuck at, and it had this record just yanking people out. So I go, and this is probably I was about 13 or 14. So I rented a shovel by the porter for $1, and I had a piece of carpet, and I was getting these people out at $5 a piece. So the record driver comes up to me because all you had to do was throw a little carpet and they'd spin out. So the record driver comes up and goes, "Hey, why are you cutting school?" And I was making like 35, $50 before school, and this is like 1971. So you're probably
Uh-huh.
talking about a couple of $100 today. And he says,
Mhm.
"I'm going to call the cops." Yeah, I said, you call the cops, are going to tell me you put your hand down my pants. And this guy was a typical New York record driver, you know, a cigarette hanging from his mouth, the big, I mean, he was a gorilla. He was like 6'5", 500 pounds. And I'm like, I'm a 13, 14-year-old kid. But it taught me a lesson, don't back away. Now, I'm going to tell you the most important thing that ever happened to me in my life when I was doing that, the most valuable thing I ever had. So I grew up in a semi-gang. It was a gangster neighborhood, Corona. It was pure Italian, right out of Sopranos, but middle class working Sopranos. Okay, I mean, it was Goodfellas was shot in my neighborhood in the way of things that happened. Okay, Astoria, real deal. So this Cadillac pulls up and gets stuck, and the guy behind the wheel looked like Danny DeVito. And he rolls out, and now electric windows were a big thing when me growing up. I mean, people didn't have electric windows, and he hits it, and out comes this fat little hand with a real diamond pinky ring, like a diamond, like a half carat, which was, guys in my neighborhood had tiny little chip pinky rings, Oh, it's a diamond. This guy had a real, and I said $5, and he goes, well, get me out, and I'll give you the $5. I said, it doesn't work that way. He goes, what do you mean? I said, you could ride off. You got to give me the $5 first. So this guy was like a magician. So he pulls out a wad with a gold money clip. And you got to understand the neighborhood I grew up in, gold money clips, pinky rings, Cadillacs. They were like, wow. So he had a wad like this. And it was like a magician. He was able to suck that $5 bill out of this rack, a stack of cash. Like, and I'm like, whoo. He gives me the $5. I get him out. He drives about 30, 40 yards down the freeway. Window goes down. This fat pinky ring comes out, goes like this. So I come running down with my shovel and my beanie, I go, what do you want? He gave me another $5. He said, I like your style, kid. Until that day, no one ever gave me the acknowledgement that I was a smart kid. I got tears in my eyes from that guy over 50 years ago. He probably never had anybody in his life to know it ain't going to go that way. He was a gangster, an important gangster. So he's used to going, hey, do this, people do that. And I'm that little shit kid going, nah, give me the money first. So he was very influential in my life. And that's one of the things I really try to do is give people those moments. And that is so critical that you can change a person's life by a 15-second conversation.
Absolutely. And I'm also wondering if maybe there was a piece of him that he saw in you.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Just a kid out making a buck. But it was very impacting. And even today, you see, I got tears. And it gave me hope. That I was on the right track, that what I had was valuable. Being able to have boundaries, the hustle, all those things really kept me going. Because as a kid, in my generation, second place, you didn't get ice cream. You got smacked in the head. We there was, there's second place. My father was that you were lazy and you could have beat that guy. You just didn't work hard enough. We grew up in that environment. But now, there could be 20 kids in a race and you're 21, but you show up with a broken leg, you still get a medal.
And I remember that because even when I was a kid, we would have our annual field days. And I remember one field day, and just to be brief about it. So field day was my day, honestly, because I'm like, I'm about to take home all these awards. And so I was so happy. And then anyway, there happened to be a girl in the class, and long story short, she sabotaged every race that I was in by joining it and not doing anything. And so I didn't win anything. And so the teacher felt bad. She was like, we're going to give you a yellow participatory ribbon. And I was like, what is that? And she was like, because, you went out there and, you tried. And I I was like, I don't want that ribbon. I didn't win. Don't
Right.
So I truly understand when you talk about, being out there and winning. And so, and it's a different time, because everybody, gets a ribbon, or everybody gets acknowledgement, for trying, and that's fine. But I kind of grew up maybe not in the same era of you, but my environment home wise was you win. And if you don't win, you just didn't win. Right. And so first
Right.
place was really the only substance of saying that you won. And second, okay, so that means you gotta try harder. So I
Yeah.
totally
And I believe, when I coach people, I make them warriors. I mean, this is a war. There is no hugging after you lose a contract in business. You have to be a warrior. You have to be tenacious. You have to be, if you really want it, I'm the right guy. If you really think that you're going to make a lot of money doing nothing, I'm the wrong guy. But if you want a coach that will just like, make you a beast, make you a warrior, make you competitive, make you ruthless. And I'm not meaning a ruthless in a negative way, but you can go to a group. Okay, so you're African American. You can go to a group and nobody likes you because you're African American. Okay, great. Go to another group.
right.
That's it.
Hmm.
Everybody's going to have people not liking you somewhere. So you just
Absolutely.
go to the next group, go to the next group. Sooner or later, you're going to hit a group that loves you and you're going to stack cash there, you
Right. So
know, but
when
there is no, to be successful, people don't understand what it takes.
yeah, yeah, I totally get that. I totally get that because it's just like you mentioned earlier, you talked about the folks that are unicorns. And so you just if you want an average disposition, then you approach it averagely. But if you really want to succeed and be on top, then there's different methods that you have to use, and there's different people in different circles that you have to surround around you as well. So I totally understand what you're saying. And so you went from high school. So what other kind of businesses did you get before the
Oh
last one?
God. Well, I've done everything.
You can
I
name.
hitchhiked. My short story is I hitchhiked in Houston with $34 in a backpack. I was practically homeless, did a lot of drugs, and with some prayer and hard work, I've built this multi-million-dollar company. But I've done everything from tree trimming to dog kennel cleaning to I used to sell cowboy hats on street corners, all
Uh-huh.
kinds of games, all kinds of games. But they all made money. I used to sell cowboy hats on street corners outside the rodeo at the parking lot and make, $200-300 a night, cash money. On Sundays, I used to go up Memorial near Dairy Asher by a rich memorial church and set up my
Uh-huh.
cowboy hats, and those rich people used to come out there and buy their kids hats, and I mean, I was always also very strategic. I think that's one of my strengths is I'm very strategic, and I didn't realize how analytical and planning I am. I really thought I was a gunfighter, and one of my biggest and most successful clients said to me, Ed, every time I sat down with you, I felt we were playing chess. Every
Mhm.
question you asked, you knew the answer to, and I knew you had three more to set me up with.
Nice.
But I never made it like obvious. I mean, it just that there's a rhythm to it. But I always I'm very strategic, even with the person I'm in my relationship. Everything I do is very premeditated, even though I could do it very quickly. Like my mind is because of all the years of martial arts, you talk about strategy, playing competitiveness,
Mhm.
coaching world champions. Your mind has to work very quickly in a in a in a strategic way. You just don't go in there and swing around. Everything you do is premeditated, but at a very quick, rapid level. So my
Mhm.
mind is able to adjust and and adapt and see the future of what you're gonna. I see what you're gonna do next before you're gonna do it.
Nice. Yeah. And so with all that you've gone through and the accomplishments and all the different types of businesses that you've coached, what are you most proud of?
Well, there's two parts to that. One part is I'm most proud of that so far with God's help, and I give God a lot of credit, but work without faith. You have to do the work or God doesn't see you, you know. You can't lay around the sofa thinking you're going to become a happy, successful person and
Mhm.
smoke weed and watch, Star Trek all day. So you got to
Right.
do the work, but I think God acknowledges hard work. um, is that I've made it so far. I've been very successful. I have and what I mean by a successful life, it's just not monetarily, it's physical, it's spiritual, it's the people I have around me. And the other part is I'm most proud of that. When it comes for me to die, I want people to think how many millionaires I've made and not how many millions I've made. And I've made several millionaires from zero. I've taken a roofer that was making 150,000 a year, he's making 100 grand a month. People
That,
like that. Just really, I mean, the guy's a beast. He wanted to get better. He had the emotional drive to do it. And some other people I've worked with. So that's the most thing I'm proud of, and how successful I've made other people.
and what does that do for you on the inside?
You know, I think all of us, it makes me feel worthwhile because as a child, I never really got that kind of message that, you're worthwhile. And I think there was two parts to it. I think what it gives me is a sense that I'm giving back to all the wonderful mentors I had and giving back to God because he gave me certain gifts. So I feel I'm paying a debt,
Mm.
I'm paying a debt. It also makes me feel smart because sometimes I don't feel that smart. And then when yeah, there's times that I think we all, I don't, I get generalizing, but you know, sometimes I really feel stupid, sometimes. And then when I come with these great ideas and I really changing people's lives every day and have these in-depth, long business conversations, I go, hey, I can hang with anybody. And I have clients that I've done business with over the years, guys that one of my old clients, sold part of his business for $3 billion. I'm sitting at the table with guys like this, and I'm sitting at the table with people that are just starting businesses and are making, $50,000 a year and grinding it out. And I just feel that it just makes me, it makes me alive.
Yeah.
It makes me
Yeah.
alive. I feel, I feel like, they got these poor killer whales in
Hmm.
SeaWorld, you know?
Hmm.
And I feel sometimes I'm like that. But when I get into business, I feel like they let me out, man. I'm out in the ocean. I'm just killing shit. And pardon my friend, I'm just killing it. I'm just like big, powerful shark out there, just raising havoc, destroying things, just making, not destroying things, but just having such a massive impact, you know?
Absolutely. I think that's your lane. When you're in your lane, there's some type of power, there's a confidence, and there is a strength and knowledge that can't be unmatched because we're all created for different things. And so when you're able to tap into your purpose and your actual design and operate in what you're created in, you can't be touched. You can't
I
be
love
touched.
it. I love
Yeah.
it.
Well, thank you so much, Ed, for sharing your story. And just quickly, I want to just give you some time to, if you want to share some business tips, or if people want to connect with you and but I want to be that warrior of a business owner, or even just as a person that you talked about. How do they get connected with you? What are you looking for when you're working with somebody, or whatever you want to share in that type of aspects?
Well, I think I discussed what I'm looking for. I'm looking for someone that's serious, that really want it, that don't expect to be a millionaire. I've coached people in 6 months go, Ed, how much longer do I have to do this? I'm ready for exit strategy. It's like, it doesn't work that way.
Right.
Business development takes years. And
Mm-hmm.
it's like, if you want a washboard stomach, it's not going to happen overnight. Whatever you want to be greater is going to take such a commitment. Now, having the team to do it is everything. What a coach does is it accelerates your game plan. And I've personally been coached by several millionaires, self-made millionaires, and I personally recommend self-made millionaires, guys that have started poor and moved up, not some CEO that went from working for Enron or Chevron or some big company, because he's never had your level of anxiety and there's no empathy. You know, their concept of spending money is completely different than my concept of spending money. You know,
Right.
if I'm going to spend money, it better make money. I don't spend money on cosmetics, you know,
Mhm.
and you better not want $1,500 sneakers instead of putting the money back in your business. You know, you're
Mhm.
going to realize for me to coach you, I want to make you amazing, but I need you to want to be amazing also. So get a hold of me is innovatingwithed.com is my website. And also I'm on LinkedIn quite a bit. Ed Hoffman on LinkedIn. There's a picture of me with a coat and all that on. Um, but I really enjoy coaching. I think what makes me also special is that I don't need the money. I do charge, but I do it because I love the game. You know, I ask people when I hire them for my company, I go, do you think Michael Jordan played basketball for money? And the ones say yes, I don't hire them. Because
Mhm.
Michael Jordan, if his father was a carpenter. So let's say there was no professional basketball, okay?
Mhm.
And he would play Sundays. Like a lot of fathers, they play basketball on Sunday, 6 pack of beer, you know, everybody throws $10 in the hat. He would still die for the ball because that's his DNA. That's the kind of
Mhm.
guy he is. And I'm that kind of guy. I love diving for the ball. I just love doing business. My brain is sparking when I do business. So if you're looking for a coach that can really, that can change your life, I'm the guy. If you're looking for someone that'll make you feel like, hey, I can help you make $50,000 a month in your first 30 days and tell you all these wonderful stories about how I'm going to make you successful. And when I always ask people that there are people that want to be a coach's coach, I go, how much money did you make this year?
Mhm.
I ask them, I go, what do you mean? I said, well, you want to coach me. I want to know how much money you make, because if you don't make as much money as I do, I don't need you. You know, you need to work with people that did it and not people that opened up a book and telling you how to do it.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So thank you so much for sharing your story.
My
Everyone,
pleasure.
absolutely. Absolutely. So thank you so much for sharing your story.
My
Everyone,
pleasure.
for a coach, you have it here, and I'm going to have his information on the screen so that you can contact Ed. So again, Ed, thank you for sharing your story, and safe travels for whatever is next going on
Oh
that you have
yeah.
coming up.
And it's always a pleasure meeting you again. I think you're one of the coolest people I've ever met.
Oh, thank you so much. Thank you
All
so
right.
much.
You
So
rock.
thank you. That means a lot. So everyone tune into Dr. PJ's Storyline. We have a lot of more episodes coming up. And so we will see you next time.
Bye.